wanted to do a happy and positive post today for today's Sunday Confessional. I like to complain about things. I like to bitch because I work in a job where stuff is broken all the time and I get yelled at all day long. So if I can't vent in some way, I'm gonna explode like a piñata. There's gonna be a whole lot of people in the blast radius. I have a series called Cover Crimes that I take ridiculous book covers. I don't look at the plot in any way, shape, or form. I'm just judging them based entirely on their covers. And I love those books. I love that those books walked so that your romance novel could run. I will fight you for those books. I poke at them because I love them. If I ever get my book published, I'm absolutely going to do a cover crime on my own book. I promise you. A lot of people don't know this, but authors don't always have any sort of control over their cover. That's entirely the publisher, the literary publisher's decision. They might, if you're successful, then you might have a little bit more say. But if you're a first-time author, you have almost no say. I mean, you can go back and forth collaboratively, but in the end, they're going to make the decision. And so a lot of these people who end up with like the half-naked, guy on the cover looking like one of the Chippendales, that poor author is probably horrified that ended up having to be on her romance novel. So I wanted to do a really positive post today. This is going to be a really tough week for me at work. We may all be getting laid off. We don't know yet. So these are some things about writing and reading that I love. I love reading a good book or fanfic that has smut done right. I cannot tell you how many times I am watching someone's book talk or something and they're doing a recommendation. I have read the book that they're talking about and they're like, this is, 4 pepper spicy. It's like, no, it's not. I read that. It is not. I love when an author gets that. I love that they know how to do it without using tacky language or really gross kind of. You can have an incredibly spicy story. You can do that without using those phrases and making people just go ugh and icky and gross and making nobody want to read any more of it. So I love when authors get how to do that. I also love that we all collectively get together and talk about the books that make our Chinese tingle. Not only that, but we have an entire system in place to judge how good that is, and they look like little dicks. I love nothing more than when I make friends with somebody who likes the same kind of genre as I do, and we also hate the same type of stuff because we can talk about the things that annoy us about certain things. I love when I find that person that kind of understands what I'm talking about. You know that the world that you created in your mind about this book is the same one that they're seeing, so you can discuss it together. We get it. This one is going to be I might lose some of you on this one. I love when I get obsessed with a new character or a new ship, or I love talking out loud in their voices. I love putting them in new situations. I get like hyper focused on them, and it's not healthy. I know that. It's like a new relationship, right? Like you're falling in love. And so now you're obsessed and you're thinking about it all the time, putting them in scenarios in my head. Every movie I watch for a while when I get into a new ship or a new story is I want to put those characters in that and I want to see how they would handle it. I love that I'm not the only one who does that. This is why fanfic exists. And I used to be so embarrassed about that, and then I thought about how many guys are into fantasy football. I got over it. And I love that not only do most of you understand every word that I just said, most of you do the same thing. I love that some books can completely change my views on something that I thought I felt strongly about. Anyone who is so steadfast in their belief systems or in their beliefs about anything, and I'm not just talking religious beliefs, I'm talking about the way that you feel about men, about women, about cooking, anything that you are so for sure about. Learn to open your mind a little bit and educate yourself about the systems that you believe in so much. If any belief system that doesn't want you educated is not a belief system. That is a form of control. They're trying to control you. If you learn to open your mind to new things, you'll never feel dumb again. I love aesthetic things about books. As I've said, covers sell books. They will sell your book. I am absolutely one of those people who will buy a book based entirely on how cool the cover looks. I am like a girl in Sephora just buying a bunch of packaging. I will buy that book because I can't control myself. I literally collect book covers. I go online and I search for books and I will right click and save. I have thousands of them just to look at them. And then if one looks really, like if it has like a great story too, then I'm buying that book for sure. I love the way books smell, which most people do. I love the feeling of pages. I hate to say it, but I actually prefer children's books. They have slick pages, which I like better because my hands are always dry. I love sprayed edges. I am such a sucker for a good sprayed edge, and not just like fantasy novels. I feel like that's kind of where it is all the time. I like sprayed edges for horror novels. I like interesting pages. You know, there was this book that was just regular pages, but there were like interesting drawings and stuff. And then at one point the pages changed from white to black and then the writing was white. And I just thought that was so great. I thought it was very interesting and I couldn't wait to find out what was on those pages. You know, like I bought that book and I was like, what is on these pages? I love those type of aesthetic things. Or like, you know, blood splatters on crime books and stuff, you know, horror crime books or stuff like that. I love that stuff. I love that in no other career can you love when people take what you did and do their own thing with it. Writers consistently have fans who then go and write fanfic based on their books or based on their novels. And you know, you can have a movie too, but those are writers. Those are writers sitting in a room writing that movie. And they love when they find out that there's like an entire fandom that's obsessed with their two characters or their ship or just their story. I know a few writers, and I don't know a single one who's ever gotten mad because fans are now doing fan art or writing their own fanfics and putting their characters in weird situations that would never ever happen in the lore of their own book. They love it. They love it so much. It means that everyone loves their book. Nowhere else can you do something like that without it being like copyright infringement. We used to be able to do that. To this day can't have YouTube. I had a YouTube that was very, very popular. I used to do fan videos in the 2000s and I did really good ones. They were the worst fan vids. They were so bad. God, they were so bad. Windows Movie Maker, baby. Like, I was banned forever. That email that is associated with that YouTube has been banned forever. You should be so excited that a fan is using your stuff to promote you. They don't want that though. They just don't want it, which is insane. I feel like the music industry has really done to themselves what's happened to the music industry. I love that in writing, there's no limit to how much fan interaction there is, and I don't know too many people that hate it. I know some actors are not big fans because it's their likeness that you're using to create your fan art of them having sex with tentacles or something like that. You know, I could see that as being a little bit of a, you know, I love nothing more than the actors who are totally into it. That makes me like you more. If you're an actor who's like, yeah, give me more, I want to read every fanfic, I think it's amazing. There are some guys that like literally will post their fan art and their fanfics and trying to make their actor friends uncomfortable by showing them a fanfic that someone wrote. I love when you love it. I love this profession for how open they are to you just stealing all of their stuff. It's great. I love when people post. I have something called Bite Size Tuesday, where I share like a line or two from a book that is a work in progress for me. I'm editing it now. It's actually done, but I'm stepping away a little bit from it because I've just been editing it too much and I'm touching it too much. And I love posting little pieces of it because I love that as a fan. If I want to read your book, I want to know what it's about. And there's nothing that I like more than when I can read like 2 lines of your book and I know immediately that I'm going to love this book. No I love list would be complete without me talking about the book that I love the most. My very favorite book is Hans Christian Andersen's Fairy Tales, and my very favorite story in this book is The Little Match Girl. Now that's probably surprising to a lot of people that I'm recommending a children's book. This book got me started on all of my love for reading, for writing. I adore this book. I have always been drawn to darker stories, especially children's stories. Children are more capable than we give them credit for. Before they were softened and sanitized for the Disney audience. And don't get me wrong, I love Disney movies. I'm a huge Pixar fan. I have all of them. But the originals, the ones done by HCA and like the Brothers Grimm, they had a lot of sharp edges, and they didn't pretend that life was always fair and that things were always going to work out. I was a weird kid. I'm still weird. And it took me a very, very long time to find other weirdos like me. So I didn't feel so alone in that. I don't like when people pretend that life is always kind. I don't like when people pretend that if you just work hard and if you just know, that isn't how life works. And if that's how it's worked for you, congratulations. But that is not the truth. And telling people that constantly, you're doing a disservice to them. I'm actually a very positive person, but my positivity comes with a reality chaser. I know the glass is half full, but I want to know who's been drinking out of it. I believe in the power of hope and optimism, and I think that it really can help your life. I also think that there's a version of that is like toxic positivity as well, where people just are, putting things under the rug because they don't want to talk about them, and then they turn around and call that negative. And it's not, it's a reality that a lot of people, you need to deal with the reality. There's a part of that kind of positivity that exists solely because they want you to feel bad about yourself. It ends up making everyone feel like they're failing for having feelings. Someone I know recently said, "You can never be in a bad mood if you put a smile on your face." And I just thought, that is a really privileged thing to say. I like being able to sit with my pain and to reflect on it and to understand why this hurt me so much or why I'm still hurting about something. I think it makes me better. I'm not saying that you need to be a super over negative person. That person's toxic too, but I don't want to hear from some privileged Patty has never had to be alone or work on her own, has always had something to fall back on, and tells me not to worry about maybe getting laid off next week. Everything will be okay. It's going to be fine. You shouldn't be so negative and put a smile on your face. Like, are you kidding me with this? That's a privileged life that you have led, where you don't have to worry about being homeless, and you don't have to worry about living in your car or what you're going to do with your pets, or you have somebody's couch to sleep on, or you have a second income coming in where it might be strapped and tight for a while, but you're not going to be to the point where you're getting kicked out of your house. I was bullied a lot in school. I can kind of look back on my life and see the dominoes, I can see how this led to this and then this led to this. I developed anxiety very early in life. I immediately just all I ever wanted to do was be alone. That's all I ever wanted. Even now, as an adult, I just want to be left alone a lot. Peace is my love language. I have a gap in between my front teeth that I'm really self-conscious about, so I don't smile a lot. And so people always think that I'm in a bad mood. My entire life has been people thinking that I'm in a bad mood when I'm not. I'm almost never in a bad mood, ever, to be honest with you. Despite what all of these people try to tell you, the world doesn't change, but you can change. The Little Match Girl does not have a happy ending. It's a very short story. I encourage you to read it, but it's not a happy ending. It's actually a horrible story. A homeless girl who's sitting on the street, and she's trying to sell matches to stay alive, basically. And as it gets colder, she has to light one to keep herself warm. Throughout the story, she has to keep lighting one after another, and she's almost out, and people are just walking by her and they're not paying attention to her at all. They're not helping. And she's down to her last one, and it's like she understands that she's going to die. She knows that that's what's going to happen. She's going to freeze to death. And she starts thinking about her grandmother, and she escapes into this world, into these thoughts of the time that she was the most happy, and that was the love that she felt with her grandmother. And she's thinking about all of that, and she dies. And I like that story is not about being saved if you're good enough, if you're pretty enough, if you're happy enough. If you're a little orphan Annie, then maybe some billionaire will come by and save you. I like that isn't how that story went. It's a story about imagination, how even when the world is cruel and it's taken everything from you, it still can't touch the place in your mind. It can't take that from you. But in her mind, she sees warmth and love. And in that moment, it's real for her. If that's all you have, when you need to retreat to that place, it can save you from the rest of the world outside of that will never save you. That idea stayed with me for years. I mean, since I was a child when I read this. Even when the world is cruel, they can't take the joy that you can create for yourself in a world that you can build in your head and in your pages. And that's what reading is. It's what it gives us. And that's why I love it. I will be a reader always. Always. And maybe that resonates with you too. So tell me in the comments and share your own confession. What do you love about reading? How did you get into it? And what is it about reading that moves you to continue even when a world around you maybe doesn't want you to? Please follow, reblog, like, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.